Good evening, everyone. It is an absolutely gorgeous evening here today at Hill-Stead, and we welcome you. Wait, I think I'm good. Thanks. Thank you all for coming out. This is a really exciting evening for us. It is our first collaborative program on the new From the Porch series that we're having here at Hill-Stead. What we've thought throughout this entire summer is it's very difficult to bring performing arts to anyone, and with 150 acres, we have so much to share, and we have places to socially distance. We thought we would bring as many performing arts as we can to you this summer. So if you do look on our website as well, we have 3 events every week from now, at least through September. They vary from opera, plays, comedy, a Yo-Yo Man, the Hartford Symphony. Real Artways is bringing a movie to us in August. We also have our Sunken Garden Poetry Festival coming in August and September, as well as music and Sonia Plum Dance Company. So we have pretty much an entire array for your family. And I would like to give a shout out to our sponsors who made this program possible. The Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, the Richard Garmany Fund, the Greater Hartford Arts Council, Clos de Troyes Winery, as well as the Farmington Valley Arts Center, Thomaston Savings Bank, Kemper Associates Architects, Harvey and Lewis Opticians, which would probably help if I had my glasses on, the ChristmasWishConnecticut.org, Jan G. McCollum, Updike, Kelly and Spellacy, O'Hannison Liqueurs, Shredneck LLC, Farmington Family Dentistry, and the Northeast Surety. What I just realized was I forgot to introduce myself. I was so excited to introduce the programs that I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Mooney. I am the Director of Private, Corporate, and Special Events, of which this is a special event. I'm also an usher, if you didn't notice. What I would like to do before I hand the microphone over is to please ask you, if you have never been here before, or if you have been here before, to please think about coming and touring the museum when the museum is open again. It is an absolutely stunning example of its time. We have priceless art and furniture and history here. And over at the membership table, if you would care to become a member, that would be delightful. So this is our first collaboration with Playhouse on Park. It's an exciting play reading. And I'd like to welcome Sean Harris, the director. Thank you very much and enjoy.
Hey everybody. I've been saying this to everybody, but welcome back to live theater. Yes. And so the Hill-Stead and Jennifer reached out to us a couple months ago about the possibility of doing some productions outside, and we completely jumped at it. So besides this event, we will be doing a comedy night, and we will be doing a Broadway-style cabaret, and we're looking for other collaborations in which we can use this space as kind of like our outside home. And Jennifer was talking about this museum is my favorite in Connecticut. Those of you who haven't been here, it's really just extraordinary to be sitting in like a living room with like Whistler, and it's like really I've never had that experience actually in an art museum. So this play, Althea and Angela, is part of our Playwrights on Park reading series. We do 5 to 6 play readings a year. They usually happen on Sunday evenings, and they're usually done at the Playhouse. And it's part of our mission to foster new works and figure out how we can help develop those pieces. What's really awesome about this play is this is actually the first public reading of this play ever. So oftentimes we'll get a play that's had a reading or a workshop and then it's still being developed, and then we're a step onto that next part of the development. For this, we're actually the first stop. So part of our Playwrights on Park series is that we do a talk back after with the audience, so please feel free to hang around. That should only be about 20 minutes or so after the play, which is intermission. There's no intermission. You'll also be getting an email from Nick, our literary intern, who's going to be sending you a questionnaire and a response questionnaire on the production, because this is all part of the playwright couldn't be here. He's in North Carolina right now, and he's not able to come up. So we will be sending him all the feedback that you respond. You are totally the most important person in this space, because what you value, what you hear, what's clear is all part of the development of this play, this very important play. Really hitting a historical moment that not a lot of people are aware of, and that's why we chose to do it at this time and in this venue. A couple other things. Oh yeah, Darlene, my the co-artistic director, in case you don't know, has a Dance with Darlene on Facebook Live and Tanya's over there, she does it, and it is, and some of you may as well, it's every day. She's been doing this now for I wrote it down, Darlene, 119th straight day, so 119 is tomorrow, and she does a whole dance like boot camp from 12 to 1 every day on Playhouse and Park's Facebook Live, so you can check that out. Also, I guess, the last thing I want to say before we get started is Althea and Angela has some racist slurs and some racist language and derogatory terms in the play, and some of those will be uncomfortable to hear. We felt that not only are those terms historically accurate for this world, and they've been documented. The lines that you're going to hear have been documented. It's also, in order to tell Althea Gibson's story with authenticity, we needed to keep them. So that's, if you hear any of those today, just be aware that's where our reasoning comes from. Thank you so much for being here and supporting Playhouse and Park, supporting the Hill-Stead, and supporting live theater, and enjoy the show.
Althea and Angela by Todd Olson. Our cast of characters tonight includes Althea Gibson, 29 years old, 5'11", a street tough girl from Harlem who would do anything to win. Intermittently, she also sings songs from the album she recorded after her tennis days. Part 3 finds Althea at age 68. Next up we have Angela Buxton, 22 years old, 5'9", a cultured girl from Liverpool who would do anything to win. She briefly also plays American tennis champion Alice Marble and an announcer. Part 3 finds Angela at age 61. Then finally we have Man, aged 40 to 60. He plays various tennis officials and scorekeepers from the different countries, as well as racist spectators, announcers, members of the press, Angela's father, Harry Buxton, Queen Elizabeth, and Althea's neighbor. Prologue. The year is 1995. Lights slowly fade to black as Conley and Robinson's A Cottage for Sale plays, as sung by Althea Gibson.
A little dream castle with every dream gone is lonely and silent, the shades are all drawn. My heart is heavy as I gaze upon a cottage for sale. The lawn we were proud of is blowing in hay. Our little dream garden has withered away. Where you planted roses, the dreams seem to say, a cottage for sale.
Lights come up. We see Althea in silhouette. Althea holds a phone receiver up to her ear.
Through every single window, I see your face. But when I reach that window, there's an empty space. The keys in the mailbox the same as before. but no one is waiting for me anymore. The end of our story is told on the door. A cottage for sale.
Angela answers her phone, also in silhouette.
Hello?
Angie, baby.
Althea, I was delighted to get your call.
You in Florida still?
I am. It's warmer than England.
Oh, sure is.
Did you see Steffi win?
I did.
600 big ones. Goodness.
They pay him good now, don't they?
They do. How are you?
Not good at all, sister.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm 69 years old, but I feel 109.
I'm so sorry. How are your teeth?
They also look 109.
Is your weight looking any better?
No, I mean, being champion is all well and good, but you can't eat a crown.
Is there anything I can do for you?
Look, I just called to say one thing.
All right.
Just that. Feeling really down. I can't hang around any longer.
What do you mean?
I mean, life doesn't really seem worth living.
Althea?
I called to say goodbye.
Now, just a minute.
I just think there comes a time when we gotta admit we're at the end of the line. It's time to say our piece and move on to the next world.
What's going on? This doesn't sound like you. Did you get more bad news from the doctors?
All the doctors want is money, and my finances are in a heartbreaking shape.
I'm so sorry.
And the Internal Revenue Service don't care about no throwing clip to their tax forms. The landlord and grocer and tax collector are funny that way. They like cold cash. I ran over an empty bank account. But look, I just wanted to say thank you to you for all that you did, for all that we went through.
Althea, are you saying what I think you are?
I am, and it's okay. I wanted you to hear it from me, not the papers.
Hear what?
That I'm going to do something here and it's okay. I want to end my life.
Oh, Althea, let's talk this over, mate.
It's too late for that.
But, well, how will you do it?
I haven't worked that out yet, but I'll tell you. I mean, they got me on so many pills here, I'll figure it out.
Wait just a minute.
This is the quickest and easiest. I don't want to be a burden. Just want to say farewell. And thank you, Angela. I always loved you.
Is there nothing I can do? Partners don't let each other down, you know.
Althea hangs up her phone.
Althea,
Lights change as Angela composes her letter.
I am writing this letter of desperation, though I might lose a special friendship over this. My friend Althea retired from tennis almost 40 years ago, having ruled during the era of amateurism, when there was no prize money and no endorsement contracts, and no professional tour for women. How could the Jackie Robinson of our sport make virtually no money from the sport, struggling to earn a living in the 1980s and 1990s? Now she lives alone in New Jersey, subsisting on Medicare and Social Security, financially destitute, unable to pay her rent or medication. She suffered 2 cerebral aneurysms and a stroke, and her powerful 5'11" body has depleted to just over 100 pounds. And if the conversation I just had with her is any indication, I think our wonderful Althea will do herself in at any moment. She told me so.
Althea appears in the darkness.
There's a court where I practice not far from our apartments on 143rd Street.
Althea is a champion, and because she is, she can get on her high horse, and she would not like me reaching out to you like this.
But no Negroes were allowed to play there.
She would never trade her dignity for comfort. But she needs our help. Today. Right now.
So I sneak over the fence after hours.
I call upon tennis lovers to help Althea now before it's too late. She may not last much longer. Please, to make a donation, send a check payable to...
I can barely see the white lines.
Sincerely, Angela Buxton.
Part 1. A tennis official steps forward.
I got Angela's letter. I sent a few quid.
I'd play in the dark for hours.
When I first saw Althea play in England, she wore her hair short cropped.
The sound of a hard serve.
Almost 6 feet tall. She was impressive.
100 serves.
Honest to God, at first glance, I thought she was a man. Truth to tell, she probably could have beaten most men.
In tennis, everything's white.
The sad thing was, this best American player was barred from entering the best American tournaments, including the US Open.
The sound of a hard serve.
And this was literally 5 years after the end of World War II.
200 serves.
No Negro players, male or female, had ever set foot on the greatest American courts.
White balls, white shoes, white faces.
Until 1950, a woman named Alice Marble, who had won 18 Grand Slam titles herself, wrote a letter to the American Lawn Tennis magazine, which blew up the tennis universe.
The actress who plays British Angela plays American Alice Marble.
I think it's time we face a few facts. If tennis is a game for ladies and gentlemen, it's also time we acted a little more like gentle people and less like sanctimonious hypocrites.
White fans, white players, and white lines.
The entrance of Negroes into national tennis is as inevitable as it has proven to be in baseball, in football, or in boxing. If Althea Gibson represents a challenge to the present crop of women players, it's only fair that they should meet that challenge on the courts.
The sound of a hard serve, and Marble disappears.
300 serves.
A month later, it happened.
I fixed my eyes on that line.
Picture the first black American to play at Forest Hills, walking onto the grounds of the US Open with none other than Alice Marble as her escort.
And I knew they were all landing just inside. Ace.
It represented progress, yes. But what most didn't know is that for all Althea's talent and strength, she couldn't enter Forest Hills alone.
Developed some of my killer moves on that midnight court.
She needed a white woman by her side. And to be blunter, most may have cheered, but nobody really wanted her there.
The sound of thunder, which brings up the lights of the Gibson Bruff match.
Weird. I can hear distant thunder, but no rain.
The actress playing Angela plays an announcer detailing the match.
6,000 spectators were at Forest Hills, but only 2,000 could fit into the bandstand. Pinkertons were summoned to close the gates.
Althea stands ready to take the opening serve in slow motion.
In the near court, the blonde Californian and reigning Wimbledon champion Louise Bruff, #1 in the country in 47, #1 in the world in 55, amassing 35 Grand Slam tournaments. And in the far corner, Harlem's own Althea Gibson.
The man plays racist spectators watching the match.
Go back to where you came from.
We see Althea serving and returning shots in slow motion.
Clearly, Miss Gibson is nervous against the superior Bruff.
You ain't welcome here, Jigaboo.
Miss Bruff broke Althea's serve early in the first set and cruised to a 6-1 victory. Many fans were seen leaving for other matches.
Fly away, Crow.
By the end of the first set, wind started whipping through the stands.
As the second set began, Gibson settled down, executing some tip-top shots. Then Bruff double faulted to hand Althea the 7th game.
I tell you, she is downright scary to look at.
And then a low rumble of thunder from somewhere.
The set ended with Bruff double faulting twice, then missing a simple backhand volley. She was playing like a newcomer, and Althea like a champion.
Sit down, burrhead.
Sky got darker.
Word of Althea's play spread to the outer courts, and the bandstand was full again.
Ooh, mammy mad now, and mean.
Thunder rolled closer and closer.
The great Californian was obviously very tired. The courage and power of this unknown Negro girl had robbed Louise of her poise.
Thunder got louder. Fans started looking up and stuff.
Between sets, a report arrived that a fierce rainstorm had halted play of the game at Yankee Stadium and was due to hit in about 30 minutes.
Beat the nigger.
Bruff labored to hold serve in Game 8, but she was panting as she chased Althea's lobs all over the court.
Beat the nigger.
But again, Althea rallied, hitting the ball like a man, cracking Louise's serve 3 times as she pulled ahead to a 7-6 lead.
Got even darker, like my midnight court.
Bruff was 2 points from winning the match, but battled back 5-5.
Beat the nigger.
Althea won the 11th game to move ahead for the first time in the match.
Big lightning flash.
Now that's what I call lightning.
Please, all spectators should remain in their seats.
In 45, we'd skin you alive.
The sound of a lightning strike.
Lightning shattered one of them stone eagles over in that stadium.
Everyone in the stands is sensing that a fabulous upset was in the making.
Then the rain came down, hard, from the jet black sky.
Officials and spectators scurried to cover under the stands.
They blew the whistle and the play was suspended.
Althea was a single game from upsetting the reigning Wimbledon champion. The press descended upon her.
A bunch of black folks stood around me, protecting me like people I ain't never met. So I was all alone, but in the middle of a mob too. The press was yelling things at me. I don't know what. Some fans started yelling too, which made it even louder. People swearing all kinds of stuff. I didn't know what to do. Wasn't allowed in the clubhouse, so I couldn't go there. So I just stayed put till the shouting ended.
It was clear to everyone there that day that the elements robbed her of her great triumph. Nevertheless, the game would resume the next day.
I didn't sleep much that night. Not on account of what happened after, but because at 23 I almost beat this famous champion.
But when Gibson entered the court the next day, having been visibly unnerved by the hordes of photographers the night before, she was not the same. The match was suddenly anticlimactic. Miss Bruff had regained her strength and won 3 straight games to run out the set. After winning the 14th game, Althea fought back and deuced 6 times before she finally lost it. Bruff won 6-1, 3-6, 9-7. It took 11 minutes.
Whether or not I'd beaten her had rain not come, I'll never know.
But the color line was broke. Forever.
Memorable match at Forest Hills. The first of her race beaten by champion.
Althea and Angela enter the locker room, escorted by an official. Angela wears a tennis dress. Althea is in shorts and a collared shirt with a vest. Angela carries everything she needs in a suitcase. Althea carries everything she needs in a backpack.
You'll do your physical warm-ups here. I'll come and get you in exactly 15 minutes.
Althea adjusts her fly in front and her belt. Angela sees this in surprise.
Oh, goodness.
Ms. Gibson, it's in the rule book for exhibition matches such as these Indian championships. Ladies wear tailored dresses. Not with that.
With what?
With the zip up the front.
Hey, look. The president asked if I would go on this goodwill tour, and I said yes. But I still got to change my clothes in the car. How come I can't get changed in the clubhouse like her?
I didn't make the rules, Ms. Gibson.
I mean, if this is a goodwill tour, then where's my goodwill? I wore these for my other matches this year.
And people complained.
Who?
People.
All right, tell you what. Show me in the rules where the colored players enter the clubhouse,
That's not in the rule book.
so I can enter in the front with her.
No, black players enter in the back.
Well, when you can show me where it says in your rule book, I'll wear a dress. Until then, I zip up the front.
It just looks
Like what?
Like a man. Sorry.
It's not in compliance.
I'll wear this. Stick that in your report.
Fine. I keep the official game clock. Players shall be ready to play when their matches are called. Any player not ready to walk on court when their match is called may be fined.
How much are we going to earn for this match?
Nothing.
Uncle Sam covers all your expenses.
Then find Uncle Sam.
All right, Althea. I'll be back in 23 minutes.
The official exits. Althea and Angela stare at one another.
Men making rules about our appearance. It's dreadful, really.
Uh-huh.
Angela strides to Althea.
Hello, I'm Angela Buxton. I've never been to New Delhi, have you? I mean, I've never been to India. I know it's one of our colonies, but it's not like one could just pop over, right? I mean, you were one of our colonies too, until, well, all of that unpleasantness. Anyway, sorry, just a bit nervous.
Althea exits and can be heard throwing up.
Have you seen Brigadoon yet? Critics are clobbering it, but there's something about it I like. Oh, how about On the Waterfront? Do you just love Eva Marie Saint? I mean, of course, Marlon Brando. Oh, or A Star is Born. How did Judy not get the Oscar? Movies are huge here in India. My father owns movie theatres back in Liverpool. Shall we try and catch one while we're here?
Althea re-enters, stares at Angela.
Or perhaps not.
What about Dorothy Dandridge?
Loved Carmen Jones.
Althea walks over to Angela, close, stares at her.
Harry Belafonte.
Adore Harry Belafonte.
Mm-hmm.
Althea walks away to tend to stuff in her bag.
I see all the others have chosen the other locker room, as usual.
Don't care.
Me neither. So, doodly-doo. Oh, that's British, for oh, never mind. But anyway, I thought I would come and join you, if that's all right, you know?
I don't care about social.
I know. That's what they say about you.
Oh, yeah?
I guess. They don't really talk to me either.
I don't care about what people say.
Which is what arrogant people say. I only mean that your reputation precedes you. It turns out your reputation is accurate.
Are you trying to get under my skin? Because you're pushy, and turns out your reputation precedes you, and that turns out to be accurate too.
Call me pushy. Fine.
And call me whatever you want. I don't give a damn. Because at the bottom line, you're going to lose today.
Perhaps.
Perhaps nothing. I would knock you down if you get in my way.
Probably. Yeah, you're having.
That's right.
But one can't be sure, can one?
I like my odds versus a little white girl from Britain.
I'm only 2 inches shorter than you. And what if I beat you?
I don't mind losing. The more I lose, the more I learn.
Great point, actually.
Look here, Bucky.
Buxton.
My daddy taught me how to box like a man. Don't make me show you how.
My daddy taught me to recognize a star, so...
So, what?
You're the best player on this tour, but everyone else chose the other clubhouse.
I don't pay them no mind.
Because you're not friends with any of them. And that's all right. Neither am I. Who knows? Maybe they're afraid. Maybe they're bigots. Or both. I remember when I went to a convent school where the nuns were pretty cruel.
You gonna compare your nun school to my school in Harlem?
Oh, no. But I know it hurts.
Oh, you know?
Not like you.
Oh, okay.
No. And that's one of the reasons I admire you. I don't know what it's like to enter a tournament only to then have the tournament cancelled.
That's on them. I go my own way.
It is. It's their failing, not yours.
Damn straight.
I applied for membership in the All England Tennis Lawn Club, and that was after I won 2 Grand Slams. And they still rejected me.
Poor kid.
Got refused by the Cumberland Club for the junior championships in my own hometown. Guy told my mother, "Very sorry to tell you that your daughter's been disqualified." She said, "I beg your pardon, why?" And he said, "We've heard on the grapevine that she doesn't really have middle-sex qualifications." Well, we all knew what that meant.
Look, tennis is full of weak people. And that's the truth. You want a sport that's for the strong? It's basketball. I'd give up all this in a second if I could play basketball. In basketball, you can get physical. Throw elbows, ain't nobody see it but the person you play and feel it. I'll crush you.
You probably would. You want to fight badly, don't you?
And if I'm losing, hell yeah. But this year I started to work my butt off. Started thinking of me and nobody else. Started to get better and win more.
Good for you.
Winning is always a part of the answer. The loser always has an excuse. Winner always has a way. Loser says it may be possible, but it's hard. Winner says it's hard, but it's possible.
I'll remember that.
The rule in the streets where I grow up is, if you lose, you have to sit down.
I don't want to sit down. Back home, I train with a group. We're all in the top 10 of the world. In singles, doubles. They're great, but we're great. I beat them all the time. Only I never get the best partners or the highest seats.
Well, why is that?
Why are your teammates in the other clubhouse so afraid of you?
God come up to me and say, Joe Lewis became a champ. Then what happened? Nigger boxers came out from under every stone. And the white sport was never the same. And that's what happened to Jackie Robinson too. Know how many black baseball players there are now? 33. And that sport turned dark real quick. What's going to happen if Althea starts to win?
They both go attend to their stuff in preparation.
We've met before, you know.
Oh yeah?
5 years ago, when I was 15.
Where?
London. You were playing in
The Grass Court Championship.
I took the 74 bus from school to the Queen's Court. Most of the indoor courts had been bombed or taken over by the military. Everyone needed money, so Queen's Court let even us have a membership. That's the same backpack you had that day.
You're probably right.
I watched you. You hit the ball unlike any female I'd ever seen. I hadn't seen a black woman that close since I lived in South Africa.
Not so many Negroes on the London tennis courts, huh?
Pretty white, that's for sure. By design, in fact. But seeing you, I decided I didn't just want to play tennis. I wanted to be a tennis player, you know. I did ask for your autograph.
You didn't.
But in a moment you were gone.
Huh. And here we are.
The official re-enters the clubhouse.
All right, ladies, a few rules. Players shall not at any time, directly or indirectly, verbally abuse any official, opponent, sponsor, spectator, or other person within the precincts of the tournament site. Players shall not use audible obscenity within the precinct of the tournament site.
Just can't be audible, right?
Violation of this section shall subject a player to a fine.
Money again.
If such violation occurs during a match, including the warm-up, the player shall be penalized in accordance with the point penalty schedule hereinafter set forth. Okay, let's see who serves where. Miss Buxton, call heads.
Heads.
Heads it is. Miss Buxton, you have first serve and play on the box side to my right. Althea.
The other side, right?
Right. Ladies, let's play.
The official exits. Althea and Angela gather their stuff for play.
Wait a sec. You beat top 10 players, yeah?
Right.
And you can't get accepted into any tennis clubs in your own country?
Right.
Why?
Same reason people use the word pushy as code for another word.
What's the other word?
I'm Jewish.
Lights change to the game. The man plays the match announcer.
From the start, Althea was aggressive.
Gibson's style of play was aggressive, downright mean.
Her serve was dominating. There's no other word for it.
Her serve clearly leaves Miss Buxton fearing for her life.
From side to side, her movement was lean and muscular.
She moves about like a beast in a cage.
So strong and tough, so quick.
How does one do battle against such long arms and long legs?
As tenacious and fleet of foot as I've ever witnessed.
A racist fan yells,
Beat the gorilla, Angie!
Always charging toward the net.
Like a savage beating back prey.
Her long, graceful reach, which often stunned opponents, stunned me.
Apishly swatting the ball back like so many flies.
She had a natural timing and big, cat-like strides.
As brutish and dominating a performance as I have ever seen.
She reached out for an almost impossible backhand and then neatly spun it back into play.
Game, set, match. Gibson wins 6-3, 6-4 over Buxton. Here in New Delhi, a negress has shined in the East.
I lost. She won. Althea went on to obliterate the Japanese finalist, beating her in 2 quick sets.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have our new Gibson girl. After her stunning record this year on the international tennis circuit, 16 championships and 18 tournaments, including decisive defeats of the world's top 2 ranked women's players, Althea Gibson has become the most interesting contender in the tennis universe.
lights change. Angela and Althea and the official re-enter the clubhouse. Angela massages her right wrist.
Good, clean game, ladies. I'll see you in Ceylon next week. Oh, and I didn't see your applications for the French championships next month.
You got mine.
You got mine.
I mean for doubles. Well, you have until the end of the day.
The official exits.
That's the thing about being the only Jewish player on the English team. No one's exactly keen on partnering with you.
I don't get it.
What?
You don't have a Jewish name and you look like everybody else.
I'll take my fair hair as a compliment, and I'll let my grandmother Bokyrov know that the name she chose when she emigrated was a good one. Look, you're the best player in the world right now, and how many of your teammates invited you to partner with them?
I told you, it don't bother me none.
It bothers me. It means the Americans put more value in their own comfort than in winning.
And you want to win?
That's why I play. That's why you play.
Hey, you were really good out there.
Not good enough to beat you.
Today. I'm on a roll, but that could all go away.
Althea and Angela puts their stuff away until Althea notices Angela rubbing her right wrist.
Are you alright?
Oh, yeah, just a little cramp or something. Where do you go next?
The same as you. Asian Championships, Stockholm, Cologne, and Paris.
Althea thinks about it, then walks over to Angela.
What are you doing?
This is my hand. I'm making you an offer.
All right.
French doubles. Nobody picked us. So maybe we can join forces.
Like the Allies.
I mean, it worked in a war. But you gotta put our names in.
Together. Partners.
Yes.
One condition.
What?
That after Cologne you come back to Liverpool with me.
England? And do what?
We'll hang out in my flat and do nothing. Oh, I told you, my father owns movie theatres, didn't I?
Angela strides over to Althea.
I'd love to be your partner. You sure?
I would love to come to England with you, Angie.
Lights change. Althea sings Dream a Little Dream of Me by Fabian Andre, Gus Kahn, and Wilbur Schwant.
Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty-night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me.
The scene gently morphs to the Buxton flat in Liverpool.
I love your voice. I had no idea. You could be a professional at this. My father said the same thing, and he's in show business.
He is?
Well, that and gambling, but we don't talk about that much.
Well, I look forward to being a professional something.
Althea notices Angela's skirt.
Hey, is that new?
Yeah, just made it last night.
And you could be a professional at this.
Angela's father, Harry Buxton, enters.
I brought you girls a little lunch from down the street.
Ah, corned beef sandwiches from the butcher's.
The door buzzer buzzes. Harry goes to answer it.
What was your favourite movie?
Yes? I believe you've got someone staying with you.
The King and I. Yours?
We do? A black person? Me daughter's mate from America, yes.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
There has been an objection in the building.
Althea and Angela become aware of the conversation.
An objection, Well, just go back to those nutters and tell them to come see me. Bye-bye.
Harry slams the door and turns to the girls.
I beg your pardon. What makes them sandwiches so good is number one, the Moroccan butter, and number two, what do you call that, ducker kraut from Egypt. You don't get that in your New York City.
Thank you, Daddy. Who was at the door?
Some bloody chav. Not to worry. Enjoy, girls.
Harry exits.
Who was at the door?
I don't know, but Daddy took care of them.
Simple as that. Go back to those nutters and tell them to come see me.
Daddy doesn't scare easily. His parents fled to the pogroms in Russia. And then leading up to the war, to keep us safe, he moved me and my mum to South Africa, though Jews were only welcome on a temporary basis. And after the war, we all moved here, together again. He's a born survivor.
I guess my father was too. My folks were sharecroppers in South Carolina when the Depression hit. They moved up north to live with my Aunt Sally, who made bootleg whiskey.
Goodness. What did your father do?
He was a mechanic on cars.
I bet he loved you.
Well, he taught me one thing, to box, which was the only reason why I survived when I quit school at 13.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, no. I played my first basketball game at the shelter, and that changed everything. Learned more there and at the movies and at the Apollo than I ever did at school.
Just after the war, my daddy sent Mum and me to California to learn the game. He got us an apartment overlooking the Los Angeles Tennis Club. Played there for 2 weeks, and then, out of the blue, they refunded our money. Took them that long to realise we were Jewish. Daddy called it the Jewish discount. You know, whites had their own clubs. Jews could get in Beverly Hills, but few other places. And blacks, they had the public courts. So I began playing on the La Cienega public court, where I met Pancho Gonzalez, who was also banned from the LA Tennis Club.
Angela and Althea finish their sandwiches.
Oh, that was the best sandwich I ever ate. And there's some good food in Harlem, I tell you.
I don't know if it's the Moroccan kraut or the ducker. Fancy a cup?
Sure, thank you. And tell your father thank you for lunch.
I will.
Good. You know, you reminded me that I used to apply to white tournaments, and they would either reject me right out, say the application got lost, or they just cancel the tournament altogether.
So dodgy. When I was 15 and I applied for membership to the Cumberland Club, never seemed...
That's how they do it. Dodgy. That's a good word.
And when I asked about it again, the tennis instructor said, "Look, you'll never make it." To which I mustered as much strength as a teenage girl could muster and said, "Why? Am I not good enough?" And he said, "You're perfectly good, but you're Jewish. We don't take Jews here." My mum couldn't believe that such prejudice remained in post-war London, especially after all the Jews had suffered during the war.
And one time, I was at a bowling alley in Missouri. The manager came up to me and said that everyone in the establishment had complained about me.
About you doing what?
Complained about me being there. And I was to leave right away. What could I do? One minute I'm having a great time doing something I love to do, and the next I'm bullied out of a place by a bunch of scared white folks. Surprised they didn't chase me out the parking lot.
Angela brings the cups of tea.
They say the French championships are the hardest.
Never played there before, so
It's slow. It's not unusual for some matches to go 5 sets. It's exhausting.
good to know.
I played there last year, but Dottie Head knocked me out in the 3rd round before going all the way to the championship round.
Well, we'll just have to teach Dottie a lesson this time, won't we?
You know a black woman has never won a Grand Slam event.
Black man or woman.
And if you do, you'll become the Jackie Robinson of tennis. That kind of trailblazer.
I just want to win. I don't want to be no crusader or anything. I'll leave the politicking to the politicians. My only weapon is a racket.
I'm sorry I didn't know you as a girl.
I would have punched you just now.
I might have punched you back.
No, in Harlem, I dominated white girls like you. Then the sport taught me some manners and taught me how to develop me. After that, I just wanted to play.
You know, at Wimbledon there's a winner's ball. If you win this year, let me make you a floral dress to show off your legs and your height.
Okay. I never had a dress made for me. Thanks.
No, thank you. Oh, and we have 30 more minutes before the next movie starts.
3 more?
Unless you want to do 4.
I'm game, let's go.
Tennis official enters.
The French championships were not played on grass or another hard surface. In Paris, the courts were made of clay, unlike any other Grand Slam event. Big serves are just the same, just less. But somehow clay makes a high bounce go even higher. The best players in the world who won more than a dozen Grand Slam titles never won on clay.
The tennis official becomes a French official and scorekeeper.
Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue au 1956 championnat de France de tennis.
I drew a first round bye and then met Aussie Faye Miller and managed to beat her 6-4, 6-4.
In the women's single, I dominated Frances Gumalt in the first round, 6-1, 6-1.
I met Dottie Head in the 3rd. She edged by me in the first game, but I outlasted her in the 2nd game.
Then I handled Czech Bersimova in the 2 easy sets.
And then I kicked into high gear.
And in the 3rd, I pounded French Ginette Bukai in the 2 easy sets.
In the 3rd game, I dominated Dottie Head to move on to quarterfinals. Taught her a lesson, all right.
And then I beat up Angie's teammate Shirley Brasher in the quarterfinals, allowing only 3 points against me.
There I met Edda Budding, a German whom I squeezed by to move on to the semi-finals to play.
Who did I meet in the semi-finals?
Mesdames et messieurs, en demi-finale de l'Angleterre, Mademoiselle Angela Buxton contre de l'Amérique, Althea Gibson.
When I walked onto the court, the audience jeered me. Okay, Paris, this is how you want to play?
I was on my game and was winning points pretty easily against Althea.
Angie was fast.
3-0.
The clay slowed down my shots. Angie wasn't no Shirley Brasher.
4-0.
And Brasher didn't pick up Angie's for double because she was a Jewish?
5-0.
No wonder she was easy to beat.
5-2.
Shit. Lost the first set, 6-2. Wake up, Althea. Wake up.
That would be the most successful set I ever played against Althea. I won the first game, but then Althea came to life.
Game at a time.
15-love.
I had never seen her serve that hard before.
30-love.
I didn't know whether to try and hit it back or just get out of the way.
One after another.
Game.
Gonna get you, Angie.
Another game from Miss Gibson.
Or I'm going to get you.
30-love. 40. Game.
I got you, girl.
40. Game. 40. Game. 6-0. Jesus.
Althea reflects on the crowd.
Well, I shut you up, didn't it?
I sat between sets, drank some water, did my best to focus.
Got you. Still, 14 games in the second set. Angie's picking up her game.
Breathe. You could have this, Angela.
You can do this, Althea.
I could hear the crowd, like a dull texture, voices with no words.
I blocked everyone out. It's all silence from here.
Then I heard something, distinct, like an oboe line in a sea of violins. I heard it.
The man steps aside during the break and, with his back to the audience, lobs racist words from the stands.
Go back to where you came from!
Even here, like nettles in my ear.
Beat the nigger! Beat the nigger!
The water went acrid in my mouth. Everything was in slow motion.
The man turns back around and he is the French official slash scorekeeper again.
Mesdames, il est temps pour le troisième set, merci.
I'm gonna take this from you, girl.
I'm going to take this from you, girl. Then as the third set began, Althea swung so hard that she broke her bra strap. It was devastating and plain to see.
Oh, God.
The crowd reacted like drunks at a frat party, hooting and whistling. Althea stood motionless, paralyzed with embarrassment. I left my side of the court and embraced Althea.
The crowd hoots and hollers.
Que se passe-t-il? Que se passe-t-il?
What are you doing?
You would do the same for me.
I don't think I would.
You and I are going back into the clubhouse. Are you ready?
Okay.
And that's what we did.
Althea finds another brassiere and puts it on out of our sight.
They're going to disqualify me with this clothes violation and for leaving the court, and they be right.
They could also disqualify me for leaving the court, and they won't.
And why wouldn't they?
Because then they'd have to award a trophy to someone who didn't play, and there would be a riot out there. They may hate you, but they don't like me either. And 8,000 paid to see someone win.
4 minutes have passed. We're in trouble, girl.
Let's walk out there now. Together. You ready?
As they return, the crowd roars.
Miss Buxton, you must charge Miss Gibson with a code violation which would force her disqualification.
I won't.
Or then at least charge her with leaving the court before the game had concluded.
But so did I. Do you mean to disqualify both of us?
Well, as a matter of fact,
You won't.
we won't.
Then let's keep playing.
Continuons.
The crowd roars.
And all the little white men just went away and we finished our match.
15 love, 15 all, 15-30, 30 all, 40-30, deuce, advantage Gibson, game Gibson.
I got a 4 games to 1 lead right away.
Advantage Buxton, game Buxton.
Love,
deuce, advantage, game.
Althea double faulted, which allowed me to pull within 5 games to 4.
Damn it!
Althea threw her racket.
The crowd hoots and hollers.
Mademoiselle Gibson, je dois vous donner un avertissement.
I know.
Deuce, advantage, game.
40-30,
advantage, game.
Althea managed 2 match points in the 10th game, but I tied the game again.
Game, set, and match, Gibson.
Good match, sister.
That's the hardest match in Paris by far, sister.
Angela and Althea hug.
Mesdames et messieurs, pour notre ronde de championnat féminin, Mademoiselle Althea Gibson des États-Unis et Mademoiselle Angela Mortimer de la Grande-Bretagne.
In the championship round, Althea played my Brit teammate, Angela Mortimer.
Mesdames, êtes-vous prêtes?
Yeah, we're Brit. And Mortimer, let me ask you a question. Why didn't you choose Buxton as your doubles partner?
What the heck is she saying down there?
'Cause she sure is better than you.
Go, Althea.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to answer that either if I were you. 'Cause you know why? Don't you? Look at me. You know why.
Okay, here we go.
Advantage, game, Gibson.
You won this last year, yeah?
Advantage, game, Gibson.
And guess what? You ain't gonna win this year.
Advantage, game, Gibson.
You think you better than me?
Game, Gibson.
I said you think you better than me?
Game, Gibson.
'Cause you damn sure ain't better than Angela Bixon.
Game, set, match, Gibson.
16 minutes. Damn.
6-0. It was devastating. Mortimer was not herself.
I stopped between sets. You know what I heard? Nothing.
Mesdames, il est temps pour le deuxième set. Merci.
You can do this, Althea.
Here we go.
Advantage, game, Mortimer.
Oh, I'll let you have that.
Advantage, game, Gibson.
But I got the next.
Slugfest, 4-all.
Advantage, game, Mortimer.
I gave you another.
Game, Gibson.
But I'll take the next.
8-all.
Game, Mortimer.
I gave you one more, girl, but that's all.
Game, Gibson.
10-all.
You ready?
Game, Gibson.
Game,
Set,
set,
match,
match,
Gibson.
7 minutes.
Mesdames et messieurs, je vous présente la gagnante du championnat de France de 1956 des États-Unis, Mademoiselle Althea Gibson.
And that was the first time a black woman had ever won a Grand Slam event in the history of tennis. Our doubles match was next.
Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue au match du championnat de la compétition de double féminin.
Althea and I were up against two Americans, Darlene Hart and Dottie Head. I couldn't help thinking that either of those two could have had Althea as a partner had they only reached out.
Darlene was short and an up-and-comer. A California girl with a big serve and a pretty good net game. Dottie was another California girl, top 10 in the world for the last 6 years.
Hey, Dottie. I see you're ranked somewhere in the top 10, and you, Darlene, well, you're not ranked at all. But still, you thought together would somehow be better than choosing Althea. Who's number one? Right now.
This is gonna be fun.
Mesdames, êtes-vous prêtes?
Darlene and Dottie didn't much like what we said before the game because they thumped us 6-8.
I hate clay. It's like the ball's going in slow motion,
It's like the clay speeds up and then hits.
but slows up others.
Can't get a bounce.
Figure it out. Swing where it's going, not where it is.
Swung as hard as I could and the ball hit me in the back.
Don't hit the ball, guide the ball.
Mesdames, le deuxième set, s'il vous plaît.
Here we go.
My serve was the same, just less.
Game.
Dottie, hey Dottie, I noticed you never won a major. Why is that?
Love, love.
You won in Ohio,
15 love.
you won in Georgia,
30 love.
but never a major. You surely ain't never won here.
40 love.
Why is that?
Game.
Top spin is working, but nothing else.
Slide into the stroke. Don't stop for the hit.
Game.
Too many drop shots. Feels like they're a mile away.
Hey Darlene, I see you won here last year,
Game.
but do you know what?
Game.
You ain't gonna win here this year.
My volleys were just as fast until they hit the ground, then they slowed down.
Beat us 6-8. Take that, 8-6.
Game and set.
Althea and Angela sit and drink water. Angela massages her right wrist.
That set felt like it took an hour.
I feel like I'm wearing half the court on my clothes.
Or under my shoes.
You okay?
You,
Yeah.
you're pretty good for someone no one wanted.
I was just thinking the same about you.
We're gonna win this, you know.
I do.
Seriously.
I know.
Mesdames et messieurs, le troisième set du championnat de double féminin.
Here we go.
As the third set started, I could see Darlene and Dottie's eyes. They were rattled.
Love, 30.
You ain't gonna beat us.
Deuce.
Not this duo.
Game.
And they knew that had either of them chosen Althea, they would have walked away with this.
Game.
And the more their fear rose, the stronger Althea got.
Game.
In her country, a chasm was growing.
Deuce.
And that chasm wore on her.
Deuce.
I could see her pain in every shot.
Game.
The pain from every club who denied her membership.
For Thurgood Marshall.
Game.
For every fan who shouted nigger during a match.
For Rosa Parks.
Game.
Darlene and Dottie took one game, but couldn't muster anything else.
For Emmett Till.
6-1. Game, set and match. Mesdames et messieurs, les gagnants du championnat de double féminin, Miss Angela Buxton and Althea Gibson.
The crowd roars.
Good
Althea and Angela embrace, then shake hands with their competitors.
Good game.
Oscar, just see.
Hey Darlene. Angie has an idea.
Because you lost.
Make a pact. Right now. You and me. Next year. Partners.
And Darlene reached across the net. And she shook Althea's hand. Wimbledon was next for us. Wimbledon is the pinnacle. The brass ring for women's doubles.
Buxton and Gibson have beaten players from all over the world in the first 4 rounds, pairing them in the championship round against the 2 young Aussies, Muller and Mooney.
Althea started the match, beating the Aussies by herself.
1-0.
Or so it seemed. Acrobatics at the net.
2-0.
Tomahawking winners with her overhead.
3-0.
Unleashing a heavy serve that seemed to have the Aussies rooted to the grass.
Game and set. 6-1. Gibson and Buxton.
They're intimidated. Look in their eyes.
It's your serve, girl.
And your net play, girl. Way to keep those rallies alive.
Sini says she shared a locker room with you in Naples and saw you zip up the front. I think she thinks you're a man.
Let her.
Goodness, they're mad. Look at them.
Who cares? Let's finish this, Angie.
Game. Muller-Mooney.
Those girls rush the net at every opportunity.
Game. Muller-Mooney.
scrappy and eager.
Game, Mullersini.
They gained confidence as the set wore on.
The score is 4-2 in the second set. The Aussies are within 2 points of breaking Miss Gibson's serve.
Then I double faulted.
Twice.
Miss Gibson is struggling, but it seems as if Miss Buxton is rising to the moment.
But the Aussies won't go down.
4-4. Saved the match 5 times. 4-5. How did they make those volleys? 5-6. They almost broke Althea again, but again Angela saved the point with a dainty volley.
Then Althea woke up.
7-6.
She began flying around the court like a superhero.
8-6. Game, set, match. Gibson and Buxton see the black from Harlem and the Jew from London embrace in victory. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new Wimbledon champion, the first colored champion.
Man exits.
The next morning, a newspaper reported on the tournament. Under the headline, in very small type, were the words, "Minorities win." 1 year later, Althea won the Wimbledon women's singles, beating our friend Darlene.
At last, center court at Wimbledon is about as far as one can travel from 143rd Street.
The first black champion in the tournament's 80-year history, and the first champion to receive the trophy personally from the Queen.
The man enters with his back to the audience as Queen Elizabeth II. Althea and the Queen shake hands.
Well, ain't this a long way from the Negro section of the bus?
Female Athlete of the Year, Sports Illustrated, Time Magazine. And 1 year later, Althea and Darlene were partners, and won. And she won the next year and the year after that. But at 30 years of age, with no professional tennis circuit for women, Althea needed to find a new way to make ends meet. So, after 56 titles, she retired. As for me, I ended the year ranked 5th in the world, but was diagnosed with chronic tendinitis. And my career was over.
I'm taking you out tonight.
Hey, Cinderella, we have a ball to go to. And
That-
you're going to sing.
That's a ball I'm not invited to.
Well, we're going to break that door down too. Besides, I've got you something.
Angela hands Althea a package.
Actually, I made it for you.
Ooh, well, in that case, I'm going to the front door.
As you should.
Lights change, Angela exits. Althea sings Don't Say No by James Kennedy. Part 3. The year is 1995. Angela appears rolling a large suitcase.
Professional tours for women were still 15 years away, so her options were largely limited to promotional events. Althea's life went one way and mine went another. She lived in East Orange. I would always try to drop in and see her whenever I came to the US Open. She was on What's My Line. She was on the Wheaties box. She toured with the Harlem Globetrotters. Played a slave woman in a Hollywood film with John Wayne. She endorsed a sporting goods store and a brand of white bread. First black woman to play ladies professional golf. Wrote an autobiography. And she sang on the Ed Sullivan Show. She made a record too. She was so good. It was her joy. Married twice, but no children. She never qualified for a pension.
Neighbor guy enters.
She don't want to be seen no more. In public, like.
Excuse me?
You some reporter?
No, I'm a friend of Althea.
Oh. A reporter left some kind of fruity basket at her door if she'd give him an interview. She didn't, but she took the fruit all right.
I knew Althea from her tennis days.
Gotcha. I live in 12A. I just help her with errands and stuff. Get her check, wah-wah.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah, well, she don't want to be seen in public no more.
Right. These are lovely garden apartments.
Oh, nice now. September. But it's going to get cold soon. Bastards turned her heat off a couple of winters ago.
Goodness.
She don't tell people her address much. Surprised you found her.
I ring her up every year just before the Open.
Yeah. It's hard for her to get out anymore, you know? I've seen friends come and talk with her through the door. She don't like phones neither.
I talked with her some weeks ago and she didn't sound good.
After the strokes, she lost a bunch of weight. We all worry about her, you know?
Angela reads the sign on Althea's door.
Bless this house and all who enter.
And people who known her for years ain't seen her.
Well, I need to give her something before I go to the airport.
Don't know what to say. She's a proud lady. And she's embarrassed about how she is now.
Althea enters as she speaks. She carries some mail and a shopping bag.
Why is Miriam de Schwartz sending me $200?
Althea.
Afternoon there, Miss Gibson. I didn't know you was out.
I said, why is Miriam de Schwartz sending me $200?
Oh, look at the time. Pleasure meeting you.
Neighbor guy exits.
You getting taller than me?
I'll never be as tall as you, dear. I left a message on your answering machine that I was coming over, but you never pick up, so.
I heard it.
It's so good to see you.
I'm not sure. I'm sure it is not good to see me. But you have good manners, and that's what I expect from you. So thank you.
Been thinking about you a lot lately.
Angie, baby.
Althea, baby.
I wish I knew why Marion de Schwartz is sending me two $100 bills.
I don't know. Who is she?
Tennis player. South Africa.
Did she send a note?
It was a page from a book I wrote a long, long time ago.
Well, that's very generous.
That is very generous.
Can we go inside?
Then this morning I get a call from my post office saying my P.O. box was jammed. And I could come right away.
Oh.
I already got my social security check, and that's why I know it wasn't that.
Uh-huh.
And you sent me a gift earlier this month. And thank you so much, but that was too much.
No, it wasn't, and you're welcome.
So I done paid all my bills.
Uh-huh.
So what's my box jammed with?
Uh-huh. So, what was it?
Althea holds up her shopping bag.
What's that?
Letters. From people.
Oh.
With money. Has this got anything to do with you?
Oh, come on inside.
Althea leads Angela inside, towing her suitcase behind. She lays her suitcase flat on the couch.
Did you see Selich Graf in the finals?
Oh man, those girls are good, aren't they?
It was one for the ages, wasn't it?
Think you could have beat them in our day?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Hell yes, we could.
Althea dumps her shopping bag on the table. Dozens of letters fall everywhere.
Look at these.
Amazing.
You saying you ain't got nothing to do with this?
How could it be me? I'm just sitting at my home in Florida.
Wonder who would dare meddle in my affairs so.
Althea looks at the letters one by one.
Here's a check for $50 and a note that says, I focused on your game when I learned how to play, and I wanted to thank you. How about that?
Amazing.
And here's a woman in Florida who's producing a tennis documentary and making a trust fund in my name.
They love you, Althea.
Oh, and here's a racket club holding a benefit with tennis matches and an auction with stuff signed by tennis stars.
Because they love and remember you, Althea.
Look me in the eye. You're saying,
All right. I
don't worry. I already found out it was you.
You did.
Yes.
Then why did you put me through this? I'm just so happy for you.
I know. I mean, look at this. There's got to be thousands of dollars here.
At least.
If I can get my teeth fixed with all of this. Maybe more. I got some doctor bills in the pile here somewhere, too. And my car died.
Oh, no. Well, look. Spend it all on yourself, my friend, because you deserve it. This and much, much more.
Well, I have to say thank you. So, very, very much.
You would do the same for me.
I would.
Because I love you.
I love you too.
They hug for a long time. While still hugging,
I have another confession.
Oh yeah?
the hug uncouples. Angela steps away.
Well, after you called me, I just had to do something, so I wrote a letter, and as you can see, people responded.
Looking at all the letters on the tabletop.
They sure did.
They really did.
Yes, sir.
They really, really did.
Uh-huh.
I think it was hard to find your address, but clearly some did.
Yeah.
So, most sent to my address.
Your address?
Yeah, most. sent to my address.
What do you mean?
Angela crosses to what we thought was her suitcase, and in one brief motion unzips the top and opens the flap, revealing thousands of letters.
Those ain't your clothes.
They are not.
Are they? More of this?
I was scared to death to travel with this much cash. I refused to fly, so we drove all the way from Florida.
So this is...
More of this, yes. All for you.
Althea gently touches the pile.
Never heard you so quiet, Althea.
Just thinking the same thing.
So, I opened some of these just to see what they were. Really, I wasn't sure what to do. And then it was clear they were all for you, so I stopped. And they never stopped coming.
How? Did you...
Did I count? Yes, roughly. Until I stopped opening them.
And?
It's about $1 million.
They are stunned silent for many seconds. Althea slowly kneels to the floor. Angela kneels on the floor with her.
We can open these for days.
Won't that be fun?
These letters are... unforgettable.
Angela hands Althea a letter, then takes one herself. They open and read.
That tennis player from South Africa. She sent you a page from your own book. What did it say on that page?
Althea finds the letter.
When I look around me, I saw that white tennis players, some of whom I had thrashed on the court, were picking up offers and invitations. Suddenly it dawned on me that my triumphs had not destroyed the racial barriers once and for all, as I had, perhaps naively, hoped. Or if I did destroy them, they had been erected behind me again.
That book you wrote 30 years ago, what was it called?
So much to live for.
Uh-huh.
I see what you did there.
The two open and look at letters.
Would you do something for me?
For you, anything.
A friend of mine in Palm Beach Gardens tracked me down and asked me about you. He's actually building a clay court in his backyard for his teenage girls.
Clay? Ooh, goodness, they must be good.
Who knows? I mean, the oldest is barely a teenager.
Why do you want to talk to you?
Because he knew I knew you.
Oh, yeah?
The younger daughter did a project on you for school, and she faxed me a list of questions for you to answer.
Angela takes out her phone.
Would you be willing to talk to them?
Why?
Because he said you were a role model for his daughters.
Oh,
They were really excited about talking with the only black woman who ever won Wimbledon or Forest Hills.
all right.
Angela dials and waits for an answer.
Hello, Richard. Angela Buxton. I have someone here who would be delighted to speak with Venus and Serena.
Angela hands the phone over to Althea. Lights fade to black, leaving Angela in a special.
My friend Billie Jean King said, I always teased Venus for years. You're like the 21st century Althea Gibson. She gets a kick out of that. I want the girls who are young to understand what Althea did for all of us, particularly for people of color, but how she inspired all of us.
Lights change as introduction begins. Althea sings Once in a While by M. Edwards, B. Green. As the interlude plays, the lights fade to black. End of play.
Thank you all so much. We're going to start a talk back here. Sasha, can you come up? Sasha's our director of new works at the Playhouse. He's going to just lead this. He's running up. Interesting fact I just found out today is that today would have been the women's doubles final at Wimbledon. Pretty crazy.
That's why we picked it. Does anyone need this? Is there intro questions? Do you want this?
No, why don't you...
About it?
We haven't workshop this part, so we'll see.
Well, thank you guys so much. That was coming one more time for the actors here. Thank you so much. we've been doing this program for a few years now, and it's amazing what a good script, a kind audience, and wonderful actors can put together in just a few hours of rehearsal. This is not something we've been working on for a week. This is just stepping up and doing the work so we can see what it sounds like and get feedback. So with that in mind, usually with the playwright here, we kind of have a 3-tiered question system, but it's really open up for just conversation at this point. Questions that can be directed towards the director, the actors, myself, but right now I'm just going to kind of act as the moderator. And so the things in new play development that we're looking for are kind of that first level is things that kind of stuck with you throughout the play, things that worked, kind of aha moments, and that you're like, oh, that structure, I can even just seeing the reading, hearing the reading, I can see it on stage. Aspects you had questions about, either in structure, plot, things that are missing, things you'd like to see more of. So not so much how you would rewrite it, but what you think might be missing. And then lastly, just open season, potpourri, $500 question, daily double, whatever you got. So this is usually where hands don't necessarily fly up. Oh, but and I have to tempt people with a puppy. But, yes, sir, yes.
So I've actually seen a play on Broadway maybe 30 years ago called Doubles.
We'll probably repeat.
And I'll repeat the question.
Yeah. I saw a play on Broadway called Doubles by David Wiltsey about tennis. So, I mean, it ran for 2 years and did well in the box office and reviews. So there's certainly an interest in this kind of story, especially now. And as a musician and also a production kind of guy, I'm hearing the sound of tennis balls and lighting and all that, as well as some music. And I would start off this thing with Stan Cooke playing The Change Is Gonna Come, written in 1964 about civil rights and he and his band not being able to stay at the white hotels in the South. Just my little.
I think you can hire a new sound designer here. He was talking about a show that was on Broadway called Doubles, which kind of had that similar theatrical sports on stage. There was another show that came out in 2003. It was called Take Me Out. It was pretty much a full baseball team on stage. Simulated games. It was actually about to be remounted, I think, before all this. So, any other thoughts, questions? Ideas? Yes?
Oftentimes at the end of true story movies, for example, there's usually like a paragraph or two about what happened afterward. I'm really curious personally to know what happened with Althea after that money. Did she turn into a foundation? What was the good thing that came out of the good act?
And just to to repeat that, he was talking about what happens after. He's really interested in what happens with Althea after she gets that money. What happens in the last remaining years of her life? And we're definitely going to take that down for the playwright. That's a great question. And interesting, what you were just saying is that the playwright was actually talking to me. He was saying, like, I don't know if there's been another play about tennis. So that's interesting to share that. So thank you. And thank you for that question. Absolutely.
Oh, should we have the actors introduce themselves?
Yes, please.
So feel free. We'll start at the end and move our way down.
Hi everybody, my name is Kendall Driffin. I played Althea Gibson. I'm from New Haven, Connecticut.
Hello, I'm Jane Bradley. I played Angela Buxton. I live in New York, but I grew up in Canton, just down the road.
Hi everyone, my name is Thomas Daniels. I played a whole bunch of people. I'm originally from Northern Virginia, but I live in New York now, and I always love getting to come up to Connecticut and do theater up here.
Great, thanks.
So any questions for the actors on the process of putting this together quickly? Director or... Oh, and this is our literary intern next. Sorry, did I take... who is feverishly reading through plays this summer so we can get our next season of Playwrights on Park planned. I think we've got over 200 submissions that we've been going through for 5 or 6 slots, so it's really exciting. Some great plays, award-winning playwrights. however we can get it to you, live, via the internet, or whatever. I'm very excited about this upcoming season of that. So stay tuned for those titles. The sun just got me right in the eyes, but it's good. It's good to be outside.
Any other questions or thoughts? Yeah.
I had no idea that these two women existed. I was born in 1960, so this was a little bit before my time, but I hope to aspire to be the women. You're just incredible. You just touched me. And it's so sad what's going on today in this world, that we can't get along. It's 2020, and we're still fighting, and there's still racism, and it still exists. And I can't even put the news on anymore and hear it. I don't want it. It's awful. But you guys were outstanding. Good role models for all of us.
Were there people here who were, the part of that, thank you so much, was not being familiar with this story? Were there other people, was anyone here familiar with this story beforehand? So just...
I'd like to see Althea play.
Okay.
And it was, she was funny.
Yeah.
And they would try to call the faults on her and really treat her shabbily. And it made a lot of us very angry way back then.
Made you angry back then, yes.
Actually, to follow up on that then, I think maybe investigating how they tried to hedge against her playing and winning, because a lot of the story is very much in the action in the moment, and I find that to be a really interesting fact that they would try to call foot faults. I bet there's more to that than just that. And I think integrating that, showing how not just hard it is to be a black woman playing a white person's sport, but how they would try to stack the deck against them, not just in the fines, but in the gameplay.
Right.
That would be, I think, very interesting to watch her overcome that as well.
And there's, I mean, just the way the structure of the play, I think that's an easy element to it's just one more obstacle that she had to overcome.
Do you want to repeat that, Sasha, just to make sure that...
Yes, so the idea of that was that in her actual play, it wasn't just in the fines and other ways to keep her down, but in the actual calling by officials, that there be foot faults that weren't foot faults and other aspects that were holding her back that she had to overcome to maybe pepper that into the play as well, that there's just no angle that she was going to get a break on, and she still broke through. So I'll hand over here, Sean.
I guess it was in the early 1990s. Althea came to Glastonbury Racket Club for a tennis tournament, and she, it was named in her honor, and she gave out the trophies, and I managed to get the women's doubles trophy.
Oh my goodness!
So she presented the trophy to myself and my partner. So that was a thrill.
Oh, and just so everybody can hear, in 1990, did you say? Early 90s? Because this happened in 95, so that's interesting. In the early 90s, that Althea came to Glastonbury, and this lady won the doubles tournament, and she was given the award by Althea. It's amazing. I think there's somebody right there. Oh, yes.
You said that Nick with a delightful voice was taking notes. I had some comments. Can I email them? Is there a way of emailing them?
Yeah. We're actually going to be sending everyone here. Thank you. I mean, please take the time to process and marinate the play. As I said, it's really important for our process and for the Playwrights process. And Nick is going to email everyone who's here today, and you're going to be getting a response form. And if you can please fill that out. And then 2 weeks from today, at we're going to try to do this 2 weeks from today. You'll find out about this too. At 6:30 at night. We're going to do a Zoom a conversation with the playwright that everybody is encouraged to be on. So you can talk to the playwright as well. So all these things that we kind of do live, we're trying to do some way around how we're doing it here, and then we're pulling from, and so we'll make that work. So thank you very much. Yes. Yeah.
What kind of process do you have in talking to the really whole production staff about the racial slurs and things? that they would feel comfortable with it, and also your anticipation of audience reaction.
Oh, okay, I love that question. Thank you for that. She was just asking what's the process that we had in dealing with the racial slurs that are in the play. And we have a diversity inclusion committee at the Playhouse, which, so there was a 4-tier meeting session that happened this week. The first one in the early week, I talked to our diversity inclusion committee and talked about the language. I sent them the script. They looked over the script. They gave some thoughts about what they were comfortable with, what they weren't comfortable with. Then I interviewed the playwright and told them the thoughts of the committee. And then we had a cast discussion on Wednesday or Thursday. And then again on Friday, I took all of that information through the week and talked to our diversity inclusion committee as well, and which we got to where we were today in terms of the racist language of what's in the play, but then also how I was going to talk about it. So it was all of that is very specific direction in where we came to today with with some of the uncomfortable language. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, I think that made it very subtle, the views that they took in the Jews and black. And that atmosphere, I think, is the strengthening part of it. That was very important.
Yes. You're saying strength in terms of more aggressive language in there. Okay, thank you. Definitely put that as a question for the playwright. I guess we could wrap it up, Sasha. But really, thank you all so much. Please keep an eye on Playhouse on Park's webpage as well as the Hill-Stead webpage. What's coming up here? As I said, we're doing a comedy night. We're also doing a Broadway-style cabaret and outside performances. Whoa, pretty crazy. We're also on the 26th. We'll be sending an invite for all of you to have a Zoom conversation with the playwright, and you're also going to be getting a questionnaire about your response for the show, and Dance with Darlene. Darlene has her on our Facebook Live at 12 p.m. every day. You can get some nice cardio going. Thank you so much, everybody. We all appreciate you being here today, so thank you.